Sometimes the people you want to apply don't apply, and then you like go through life thinking they did apply, but never did.
A lot of people just don't want to do it.
What I used to do is call fucking Tropic Nights and I'd be happy.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So I'll link for anybody who doesn't want to pull up the stream. So this is mostly going to be about recruitment and trying to get everybody on the same page as to how we're recruiting, and maybe if you don't know how to recruit or you need help figuring out how to or need some guidance or whatever. This will help you. Okay, so on the I like the Google Doc in the council channel, but on this Google Doc, it lists and links every possible place that I know about to recruit for people right now. And it tells you kind of a schedule of when we should be recruiting based on the rules of each of those places. So, for example, the Classic WoW Guild's Discord only lets you post every 72 hours, and you have to delete your previous post. So I need somebody every week. I need somebody posting on Sunday and Wednesday or something like that. So every 3 days, basically. And you're probably going to get, whoever posts is probably going to have to deal with whoever, sees the message and is interested in the guild. The Reddit one, that every Monday they post a new thread, and then we need to post our recruitment spam for Reddit on there. And there's one I formatted. It's in the recruitment channel. There's two of them. There's also like a player looking for guild section in that area too, and you can go through there and find people. In fact, I'm gonna have one of you guys try to recruit a guy from that page today. I found somebody who I think may be a good recruit, that one of you guys is gonna have to try to recruit today, just as practice. And then so Sunday, Classic Wild Guilds Discord, and Wednesday same place, Mondays Reddit, and then throughout the week you're looking at that main thread, because that throughout the week people are looking to join guilds and posting in that thread. Then you have the Classic WoW PvP Discord, Classic WoW Live. Just basically all these different Discords have guild recruitment channels, and they don't have any rule about how often you're allowed to or whatever. You just post. You just take the Discord spam and you just drop it in there. As long as we're not being too spammy, you could drop it every day. And it's just to cast the widest net possible. The classic retail forums and the classic guild recruitment section, we can have a post there, and then the MMO champion guild recruitment section. When we get those posted, I want to keep them in a separate channel, and I want to keep them like kind of just as a reference so they can stay bumped. Like when we're talking about a forum, they need to stay bumped like every 6 hours or whatever. Somebody just needs to go in and post something. So let's talk about interviews and how to like actually recruit somebody, the actual act of it. So I feel like maybe only 20% of people who want to join guilds will fill out an application. Most other people want to have interviews. Um, and when it comes to interviewing people, you want to be open and transparent about the guild, and you want to be like you want to answer all their questions as quickly and like
Efficiently.
efficiently as possible. Just because you don't want to waste their time and you don't want them to waste your time if they're not somebody who's gonna fit. In addition, it shows if you know what you're talking about. It shows and it can impress people. With that, that first impression is key when trying to recruit. You're basically selling them the guild, right? So, in addition to that, you need to know like how long the interview is going on. Like if somebody is asking a lot of questions, it's not a big deal if you're taking a long time to get them to join. That's fine. But if like the conversation just naturally stops and you didn't recruit them yet, like they didn't join the guild yet, you haven't sent them a Discord invite, they haven't whatever, then you probably missed the boat. And there's kind of it's something you have to get a hang of, and it's not something that I can teach you just by talking to you. It's something you have to experience and learn. But there's a time. It's just like selling something.
There's like a rhythm. There's like a rhythm to the conversation, and once the rhythm stops, you can tell someone's no longer interested.
Right, and if there's any question of that, you can casually ask them like, hey, is this guild something you're interested in or whatever? And if you couldn't figure it out, then that should probably get you there. But
A lot of applicants are probably going to want to jump around and check out multiple guilds before they actually settle on a home. So it's not a bad idea sometimes to actually link the Discord early in the conversation while it's still going on and invite them to pop in and just check out the community just to get it out of the way if you're uncomfortable trying to slot it in somewhere.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think the Discord invite though comes at the end of the interview or like towards the end of it than the beginning. Just because
I think that's
we don't
fair.
want to make it public.
We don't know them. Yeah.
Right. We don't want to make it too public. Like if they're not interested, they don't have any business being in the Discord. And we don't know that until later, obviously, but if we determine that before we get to the point to the end of the interview, then we save ourselves the trouble of having to bloat up our Discord for no reason. But anyway, so when I mean, all right, is it me or Mike, dude?
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
All right, so try to appear knowledgeable but humble. So what I mean by that is, like, if somebody asks you a question but you don't know the answer, you obviously don't know the answer. Don't just make shit up, or tell them like, hey, I'm gonna look that up and I'll get back to you, or I'm gonna ask somebody else who knows. Or, just let them know like, hey, or if you obviously know it, tell them, or tell them that it's your opinion or whatever. But don't come off as elitist. Just try it, be approachable, I guess is what I mean. So these are questions that I ask everybody, right? I ask them what are their goals. This is more of a pre-release question, or this is a question I'll also ask when we're leveling. After we're already 60 in rating, I'm probably not going to ask that question. I'm not going to ask what their goals are. I might ask if they PvP on what their PvP goal is, but their PvE goal they can show me. Like I'm not too worried about it. And then what are they interested in playing? That's another question that I'm not gonna ask as much. I might ask them like if they're a priest. I might ask them, are you playing Shadow or Holy or a warrior? I might ask them what spec. But and then the third question would be what questions do they have about our guild? So like those are the three main questions I ask always for interviews. If the conversation goes somewhere else, then I might ask something else, or like I plan on being an orc warrior, or I plan on being an undead warrior for rating, and then I might ask them why did you come to that decision, or there may be something that you ask them that kind of gives you insight into their class knowledge or something like that. But these are the 3 main questions. And if you ask these 3 questions, you pretty much figure out where they're at and what they want to do. And that's enough for them to join the guild. We're really broadly recruiting right now. So while there are other important questions to ask somebody, a lot of these things, they can tell us anything they want to. They can tell us if they were the top, the world first Kel'Thuzad kill in real vanilla, and they've been a gladiator for every season of Arena that there ever was. And who cares? I really don't care. Show me what you're capable of, by actually playing the game. I don't care what you've done before as much. That's not to say their experiences aren't valuable, but anybody can, make that shit up. And it's very common that they do. So, when it comes to questions that they typically ask, or they ask you about raid times, now we haven't solidified our raid times. It's looking like 9 p.m. It's probably going to be 8:45. Realistically, it's probably going to be 8:45, but looking at 9 p.m. right now. And we plan on, when content's on farm, all raid content up to AQ40 will probably be cleared in a single day. Probably under 2 hours. So while we will schedule for having, whatever Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, or whatever we end up doing, it's not, maybe we only rated Tuesday, realistically. In a month or 2 after launch, this is what it realistically looks like. So you could tell them that, and make sure a lot of these guys who've never played vanilla, or they don't know the new classic meta, or they've only played vanilla back in the day, or they don't know that content's gonna be cleared that quickly. They don't understand that you don't need raid 3 days a week. You don't need to, or they, on the inverse of that, they don't realize that Nax is gonna be force the game to be a 7-day-a-week content clear, or make sure they're aware of that. But that's something you don't really need to talk about unless it comes up in the conversation naturally, how many days a week do you plan on raiding during Nax, or what are your expectations for AQ40, whatever like that. What about meme specs? So we're not looking for anything that is not going to be viable, or standard rating specs. So we're not looking for feral cats, enhanced shaman, elemental shaman, melee hunters, whatever. I don't really have room for those people. If you have a friend already that wants to play enhance or shadow priest or something like that, I'm okay with it as long as they know what they're doing, and you know that they know what they're doing, and we can hold them accountable, and we can make sure that they are carrying their weight. If that's a lot of boxes to check, but more so than enhanced shaman, we have to keep an eye on and kind of hold a higher standard than a resto shaman or whatever. We have to hold them a fairly high standard, because we don't want a bunch of enhanced shaman just deciding, oh, these guys raid with enhanced shaman, so I could join their guild. We want to make sure we only have the more elite type player who's gonna fill that spec. That being said, I really don't want to have those people in the guild. I don't want to, because it can be a waste of our gear to invest into them, and then they come to find out that playing enhanced and just auto swinging bosses is just not fun. And there's nothing really to do that's enjoyable with it. You're never gonna top meters for whatever reason, and you're just gonna burn. You're just asking to throw away loot with those kind of players. Now, some people are masochists, and they don't mind being at the bottom of the meters. They don't mind just auto swinging bosses, whatever. Okay, those are the kind of people we want, especially if they're gonna min max to the fullest extent.
What about legit PvP?
So that's another aspect. That would be something like a hardcore player that if it's just some fucking random guy that you did one battleground with, I don't want him. But if it's somebody that you're actively ranking with, or they're serious, yeah, we'll want them. Especially if they're gonna carry their weight. I don't want somebody who's gonna be a PvP tryhard, but he's gonna fucking AFK during trash and be worthless. And he's only there for the loot. I don't want him. So when will our first raid be? So the kind of the boilerplate answer to that is as soon as we have a viable raid comp and at least 8 people with Hydrax rep at Honored. So that could be week 1, 2, or 3. I expect it to be week 2 to 3, but you, especially for like the semi-hardcore folks, we want them to know that we are not rushing. We're not requiring anybody to rush to 60. There's no like expectation or cutoff time or date or something like that to where we have some expectation that they must be 60 by some point. No, they can take their time. It doesn't bother us at all. We will have enough people to fill the raid within that second week, I'm pretty sure, just based on the number of people we field and the amount we're going to recruit on the server. But it's always a concern that people have, or especially the more hardcore folks who want to know, like, hey, we cleared week 1 or 2. Alright, you're not clearing within 2 weeks. I'm not interested. That kind of thing. We want to make sure like we say something that fits into what their expectation is too. And we're not necessarily being dishonest when we say within 2 or 3 weeks. For multiple raids, like this is gonna be the deal breaker for a lot of people because they don't understand the concept or they're not familiar with the idea. And you just have to, you just let them know like, hey, you're not able to make one raid day, or let's say you're a casual guy and you can only make, 3 weeks out of the month you can raid. Well, or I have a shifting schedule where I can raid Tuesday, Wednesday 1 week and Friday, Saturday the next week. Well, this guild should still fit your schedule, and you make those people aware of that. This is especially significant for people who are going to be seriously PvPing and ranking because it gives them bigger windows for honor farming. Also for the PvPers, like make sure that they know that we're going to support them 100%. As long as they're taking their ranking seriously, we'll treat them seriously as far as PvP loot goes, and we're gonna like make sure that PvP loot goes to people who actually PvP. But and then there's just like a little blurb about our experience. So the intent behind this PowerPoint is that you guys can go back to it for reference, and you can use it as kind of like a boilerplate or copy and paste type thing. You can put it in your own words or whatever, but this is like this is something you want to do or want to use it as necessary. So again, there's a link, and I'm gonna adjust how officer chat looks in a little while, but all right. So they've joined the guild, right? So what do? So first, you invite them to the guild, to the Discord. Second, you get them to fill out the roster. Now the next 2 are kind of optional. Fill out the schedule form. If they want to have a say in what the guild's raid times are going to be, they want to fill this out. If they don't care, like then they don't have to. And then there's a PvP form, so we know what your ranking intentions are, and we can kind of figure out what our PvP roster looks like. If they're not going to PvP, they don't need to fill it out. If they're going to PvP seriously, they're going to tell you that. You need to tell them they're going to fill it out. And this is a lot of different forms to have to fill out, but it's all information we need for launch. And there's going to be a new roster that's going to come out probably this week. I guess finish it. But as soon as it comes out, it's going to be the one where we're nailing down like exactly what you're playing instead of giving you the option of 3 possibilities. You're going to have to choose exactly which class you're going to play. So when it comes to retaining players, really, I need your guys' help with this more so than the other areas. Like, I'm pretty good at recruitment. I mean, I could use help from you guys because it frees me up if I don't have to be recruiting all the time by myself. But engagement is really where you guys come in. So when somebody joins the guild and you see that they join the melee channel or the caster channel, you guys just need to be talking to them and trying to get them engaged and involved with the guild, because what happens, I feel like, is a lot of people join, they see the same people talking over and over, they don't see anybody talking to them, they don't really get involved, nobody, they don't socialize with anybody, and then they just leave. So I mean, talk to them, maybe learn something from them, teach them something. Another thing is, like, if a guy joins a guild and you see them they're not really active in the guild Discord, hit them up in direct message and try to figure out what their deal is. If they're just hanging out, or they're not really interested in the guild anymore, or just do that follow-up message just to make sure that you haven't forgotten about them and stuff like that. Also, like, that might be a good time to like direct them to who they should talk to as far as class leaders go, or something like that too. And then for the next meeting, we might have another meeting next week or the following, so either next week or 2 weeks from now. Probably on the same day and time. I want you guys to start coming up with what you're going to talk about at your role meetings. So over the next couple weeks, and probably basically over July, I want all the class leaders to come together and figure out some standards and create an outline and host your own meeting for people within your role. And you guys can come up with whatever time works for you, whatever day works for you. It's really up to you guys how you want it to look, but some ideas of what I want you guys to have in each of these outlines or PowerPoints or whatever you guys come up with. Talk about professions at launch, like what your leveling strategy is, or what subtle things that maybe have to do specifically with your class. Like, maybe you want to talk to somebody who's really good with gold into doing like a wand selling thing, like where they, like, a really common thing is people rush to like level 5, they go pick up enchanting, and then they start making wands and they sell them for like 40 silver in like Brill or something like that, and they just sit there and they and like, let's say somebody is the wand guy. Well, everybody just gets a green, trades it to them, and then they make a wand and then they move on. But that one guy is incredibly valuable because he's probably going to generate like 10 gold before he moves on, but he's going to sacrifice his leveling time to do that. But 10 gold, when everybody is sub 20, is huge. Like, you can buy so many. If you invest that money into the auction house early, you can make so much money. You basically double your money. And like, for example, I would suggest a warlock do this, because a warlock doesn't have to pay for his epic mount, so they don't really need the gold anyway. They can just invest that over and over into the auction house, and then maybe we can use that money for something else at 60. Or another example of something that, like, warriors, you should pair up with a hunter or a mage and figure out if they can help you farm your whirlwind axe, or things like that. And like, talk to different role leaders within our officer corps, and come up with these ideas and strategies, and then incorporate them in your outline.
I want to have a magic dust farming group around like level 30 or.
Fuck it, yeah. I mean, that means, yeah, stuff like that. Like, for the PvP meeting, you need to talk about all kinds of shit. You need to talk about title charm. You need to talk about, whatever you guys think about. And then also how we're going to handle, like, specialized talent builds, like things that only one guy has to bring for the whole raid. So Winter's Chill, improve Battle Shout, improve Thunderclap, improve Demo Shout, these Spirit, I don't know, like all the improve Spirit, improve Fortitude, whatever. There may be. You guys need to come up with ideas on how you're going to handle that, not just within your class, but within the role. So, and then also you need to talk to each other, like the rogue class leader needs to talk to the warrior class leader, where you guys need to make a decision on what loot is going to go where, and I can give some guidance on that, but it really should be between you guys. And so the main purpose of this meeting is I want you guys to start kind of getting into the rhythm of being a class leader and start working on your own, and coming up with your own ideas of how to improve the guild or how to make the guild better. And each of these things is just going to improve engagement within the guild and keep increase retainability with the recruits. And it'll just, in general, it'll make the guild better. So that's actually it for the meeting. It was a really short meeting, but this is really key, and this is something I need from you guys. Does anybody have any questions, or do they have any ideas or anything like that? Or any criticism about the current, like, how we're doing stuff in the guild or anything like that? Stuff we want to do better?
Not really. I mean, everything you said was like on point, you know?
I'm looking forward to seeing an updated roster with the class choices.
Yeah, that's something that I'm working on. It's not ready yet, and it'll probably be ready before Friday, I think.
Sweet.
It'd be nice to get class expectations for professions down.
Yeah, so you guys, it's kind of on you guys to come up with that, but I mean, I've talked about it already, especially for casters, kind of what I want to see for each phase, but launch professions is totally up to you guys, how you guys want to explain, or like what strategy you want to come up with, you know, whatever.
Right. I would be nice to have like a guild-wide expectation before we go. So like tailors are usually casters. They know like who it is. So like casters have to be enchanting or tailoring, engineering. So everyone knows that like they can't take herbalism and alchemy.
Well, so here's the thing though, they can take those at the beginning while leveling. Like phase one is a free-for-all for professions. It's not until phase 3 that we really care. Or I mean phase 2 if you're PvPing, phase 3 if you're not. You know, you don't have to even have tailoring until Zilver up for like warlocks. Mages probably want to have you probably want to have your robes of archmage stuff made, or priest, you want to have your true faith vestments, but you don't really need to have tailoring at the launch. Like you can be engineering from the beginning, or you can be herbalism skinning, or whatever you want to have at the beginning. But you got to talk about the evolution of how you want to do it. And so, like phase 1 is all about just making as much gold as you possibly can, honestly. And if that's the case, you should go over in the gold guide section. I posted a really badass gold guide.
Yeah, it was badass, dude. I read it.
You guys definitely need to look through that and start thinking about that for launch, because there's a lot of great information in there. Hard times, I'll link it to you in a bit.
In terms of just professions in general, Chris, whenever we get past, I'd say, phase 1 and phase 2, whenever engineering is going to become more prevalent, are we going to have like a specific person dedicated to like Goblin and Gnomish? Because I know Goblin, you primarily need it for like sapper charges and other like BOE items, and then like Gnomish can be useful for like BOP items, like for PvP, or even for PvP or PvE, I should say. Like I know the Gnomish one for the teleport's more convenient for whenever we get to AQ, but the Goblin one's more convenient for like getting jujus and stuff.
So
that's just an example.
Yeah, so like for example, your Gnomish, I would recommend probably to melee and tanks and hunters, like physical DPS, because of the Gnomish battle chicken.
Yeah.
And then for Goblin, can basically be anybody else. And we need Goblins for sapper charges, right? Or not for...
Yeah.
So, I think sapper charges, or is it the rocket fuel? I don't remember.
It's both. Well, you need it to make the pattern for the rocket fuel, and then you also need it to just keep resupplying sapper charges.
I'm going to tell the warlocks, some of the warlocks, if they want to be SM, they should be Gnomish too, so they can do battle chicken.
Yeah. And like you said, yeah, having Gnomish for tanks melee is probably the best thing, because like you said, the battle chicken.
So gnomish teleport works better for warlocks for trying to go to A2.
Yeah. So I think like healers and mages can all be goblin. Maybe like healers, mages, and yeah. I mean, you could probably even do it for hunters. I mean, there's not. Do goblin um do jumper cables? Are those goblin only
You
or?
jumper cables
They're neutral.
you need to be goblin to make them, but you
Okay,
can be
okay,
any
okay.
engineering. Yeah, you need to be goblin to learn them, but once you learn them, you can be any.
I think it's only the ones that require like on use to be a certain profession because we're gonna have so many engineers. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, like the
Hey,
baseline ones are either one, and then the like XL ones, which are like 265 engineering, or once you, like I said, once you learn them, you can just trade them to any of them. I think they're BOE.
So anyway, there's I mean, so like all these things, like that gold guide would be something to consider, like thinking about before we, come up with whatever strategy. But these are all decisions you guys are coming up with. You guys are making. I can give advice and what I think is the best way to do it. And only in the most dire circumstance am I going to override you. But it's up to you guys to come up with how you want to do things. But anyway, I mean, that's pretty much it for the meeting. If you guys, I think we're gonna try to do these meetings like weekly or bi-weekly, and I'll have something new to
bi-weekly.
talk
Yeah.
about. Yeah, I'll have something new to talk about every time. Um, but in for your like your meetings for your class, like team meetings, um, you guys can definitely come to me if you have questions or you need help with ideas or something like that. Or if you want me to review it, I can do that too. Just let me know.
I mean,
Alrighty.
the biggest block to that seems to be that most people really aren't paying much attention to the Discord.
Right, and that's not a problem. So when you do have these meetings, you just record them, and then you get them. You just like it. When we have these meetings, you just take, you record it, and then when we get closer to launch, when everybody is paying attention because everybody's gonna be super hype, you like, hey, did you watch this? This is our plan, and then you don't have to repeat yourself every time. You don't have to repeat yourself to every warlock in the guild. Now you've already got it on video what the plan is. And somebody, either I can be there to stream it or somebody else can be there to stream it, and it'll be kind of the same idea. Is like what we're doing now. It's kind of the framework for the how we're doing meetings.
I'm getting my stream together, so if Kurthos is available, ping me auto hacks. I'll try and get it.
Yeah, I know I have streaming capabilities. I'm probably gonna end up streaming,
Alright, I'm gonna bounce out because I'm actually trying to lead a raid right now and they need me.
Alright, man. Yeah, I mean, this is it anyway, so that's for me.
That's
Peace,
good.
dude.
Anybody in the stream have any questions or some idea? Uwap, was there a certain link you wanted? Alright, I'm gonna mute Discord for a little bit, talk to my wife, and end the stream. So if you guys have any questions or need help or anything, I'll be back probably in maybe an hour or less.
When are you getting through the rest of those applications? It'll be tough to do a mage meeting without who else we know is getting.
Yeah, so class leader stuff, it might be this week, it might be next week. I don't know. I just got back from vacation, so I haven't had a chance to. But I was gonna reach out to all those guys, make sure they're still interested and stuff like that.
All right. Ash for our lock, and actually Mage too. We should work out professions pretty hard.
Do
Want to get
what?
at least talking to Ash, but yeah, we should get like one person with all the felt cloth patterns
Definitely.
and like the robe of winter or whatever.
Yeah, this is actually a question I have for you, Kurthos. Since you were talking about like the different class settings, since like tank and melee are sort of together in some regard, would you want like the tank and melee class leaders to just sort of do their meeting together, or just have like tank specifically do it, or to melee specifically do it?
I mean, you definitely have both at the like both the leaders at the meeting, but the tank one would be led by the tanks, the melee would be led by the melee, and you would want to, talk to them beforehand for planning, and then additionally, any warrior in the guild needs to be at both. But you guys talk about
Yeah.
separate things. You can even have them on a separate day and just have different people doing different presentations, like back to back. I mean, it's up to you guys how you want to do it, how you want to schedule it,
Yeah.
however we want to go about it. But
All right.
all right, I'm in the stream.